things, yeah. So that would be cool to see if he reaches deeper into his champion pool. I remember when it was in LCS, he even picked up a Jace game. That was back when poke was a big thing. But I highly doubt that Nidalee will be passed over. Azir is also banned out, so again, hitting these mid laners. Rise? No, Alistair actually aims at Dreams. I have to assume Rise will be banned at some point.
Well,
final
Misfits
ban
have the
from
first
Misfits
pick now, so if it's not banned,
gonna
they're going to go straight for it, yeah.
For sure.
Nidalee, Kindred still on the table. We have seen a couple priority bans on top of them. Taking Memento away from Graves might be something that they want to do, but we know that he can play a number of different champions. The question is, what is going to be that? So it is going to be the Kindred. Misfits don't want to see Memento playing that. Does mean that things like the Nidalee, Graves, Elise, Gragas, all available too. Trundle are left up and low priority, going to be taking away that Rise at the very end of it. So Misfits immediately valuing that jungle pressure. They want to have Wisdom on something that he's comfortable on and something that he can have a lot of early game dominance with.
So yeah, Nidalee passed over. It's actually kind of rare we see the Nidalee nowadays. Usually banned out, and then we see the other junglers come up, like Lee's has been coming up there. Low priority. Okay, so pick up the Trundle for the early pickup and also the Lucian. So kind of be expected. I mean, if Trundle's open, generally someone's going to pick it in the first rotation. Lucian as well, as also a flex for support and top lane. And now we're just waiting from Misfits. They also have the pick of the litter. It will be interesting to see if they pick up a range support, actually, because we've seen a lot of people still stick for those melee ones.
I don't know if they really need to prioritize it right now. I think the safe thing to do would be to just pick your AD carry, because you already know what AD carry you're going into. Ezreal does seem to be the thing that we've been picked into, the Lucian. Lucian with the Ghost Blade, Black Cleaver build, early to mid game powerhouse, but as long as Ezreal can get past that, once he hits that 20-minute mark, once he gets the more mana combined with the Iceborne Gauntlet, then he will start to do more damage than the Lucian. So a matchup that we've seen time and time again, paired up with the Braum, nothing really too surprising coming out from Misfits.
Not really, we saw it last game as well, so nothing to write home about. Now, what are we looking for priority? They still have a support, or they could flex the Trundle down there, of course. Looking for a mid laner. Want to see what Sebix is going to bring to the table this game. What's still available in terms of mid laners? A lot of mid laners are going to be taken away because the default of Victor is not there for them.
Let's think. LeBlanc is something that we've been seeing a lot of in the mid. You don't want to try and pick that too early if you can avoid it. Low priority do have the last pick. The problem is if they pick that top laner now, it's going to be very obvious as to where that Trundle is going. So Misfits, they are going to be waiting for that because as much as possible, they want to get Alphari on a positive matchup. Or low priority could do this and say, oh, you think we're flexing our Trundle? Well, we're also flexing our mid laner. So with the Karma pick, you can put that Karma in the top lane, or in the bottom lane, or in the mid lane. So you have a wide variety of options with that as well.
Yeah, first time we're seeing the Karma in this tournament. Also with the Graves going into their jungle, if anyone's going to bust out a weird mid lane, it would be Sebix, because he still also has the Pocket Syndra if he wants it. But I have to see how that does there. LeBlanc is still available, and they're thinking about it. We have seen Selfie pick it up before, and it's basically a staple of mid laners now anyway.
It is, yeah. LeBlanc never really fell off. That we've seen a couple of shifts in itemization where more LeBlancs now are prioritizing that Abyssal over the Morel and Omicron because they want that bit of extra tankiness available to them, but they also know that they can dive in. You have that magic resist shred aura on that Abyssal Scepter as well, and the cooldown reduction. As long as you can get that on LeBlanc, you're always a happy chappy. So LeBlanc has had some slight variations in terms of our itemization, but still a very prevalent pick, and with more mages, more assassins tend to be the caveat against that.
Yeah, that was down to the last second, and the Echo swap up after the Maokai, so that will be going over to Alphari. Glad to see Echo again, very fun to watch as a champion, and then the LeBlanc will be going into the mid lane, so we have everything locked down for Misfits. Just a solid composition really looking from them right now.
So far of Echo, we have not seen very much success. Echo has been struggling when he goes up in the top lane, especially against the Trundle. We saw it go up against the Fiora, where it did end up falling behind. So what I want to see from Alphari is something that I have been harping on a little bit about, the Rod of Ages, or the Abyssal build on this Echo. His scaling has been improved. What's been happening is during the patches, you can see that Echo has been they're trying to move him away from a tanky top and more into a mid lane assassin style of play. So his base stats have been reduced, his ratios have been buffed, and Rod of Ages is a very cost efficient item. You're going to be an island on that top lane for a while. Maokai isn't going to have that much lane presence, well, unless you're Alphari playing the Maokai. But if you pick up that Rod of Ages, you have a little bit more kill threat. You still have that off tankiness, and then you can transition back into your tanky Monkey, the Sunfire into the Spirit's Visage. So especially if you pick up that Glimpse of the Void buff too, you have a lot more presence. So it's something that I'd like to see more from Echoes. I think it can be really powerful, but we're yet to see anybody sort of develop that strategy.
It's true. It's also very difficult to make AP Echo work in the first place. That's why we never saw like a lot of people initially just go like Glass Cannon Echo, because like landing that ultimate consistently as like a source of damage is difficult. Landing the Parallel Convergence consistently is also very difficult. So
it can be tough.
Yeah, just running at people and hitting people with your bat is unavoidable. So, I mean, that's why people have been doing that, right? It's a lot easier to do that than landing an ultimate. But
do you want the easy way or do you want the style way? That's the real question.
I mean, you could do like, if you land the Chrono Break on 5 people, like initially when you first saw the champion come out, people were like building full AP and just like obliterating full teams. It was like, Echo's ridiculous. And then you actually played it and it's like, I can't do that. That's not possible. You physically can't.
A lot of people just use it to get back to lane.
Right. Back to lane, or like they TP into a fight and it's like, I don't want to be here anymore. And they just go back to base or they go back to bot lane or something. The final pickup was Maokai. We didn't mention that. That was going on to Kekts in the top lane. He will be playing up against the Echo unless we see lane swap shenanigans. But that kind of goes back to like MSI and like before that as well. We saw a lot of Echo Maokai. Echo wins that matchup until Maokai gets very tanky, and then Echo doesn't kill Maokai anymore, and they just kind of like wave at each other and farm minions for the rest of their lives. So that's that matchup.
Calm down. I know you're excited.
Yeah.
But we are going to be getting into game relatively soon.
Yeah, we have a slight delay. I believe Selfie just needs to relog. So, oh, he just said, I'm back. Hello. So I have to assume we'll be getting into game. It's me. It's Selfie. And we should be getting into game very shortly.
Yeah, relatively soon.
We'll
so,
see about that one.
Nidalee, let's talk a little bit more about that. Wisdom, we wondered, how's he going to do? Because for me, I saw a lot of this Alphari Maxwell combo in the past, especially throughout the UK scene. They used to play for a team called To Infinity and Beyond, which they won PGL with not too long ago, back in November. And that combo looked absolutely dominant. And since then, when Maxwell was matched up with Impaler, you didn't really see the same kind of success because Impaler wasn't that top-heavy focused.
Yeah.
But now with Wisdom back in, both you and I were very curious as to how that synergy would work out, because Alphari, all he needs is a slight lead to really go to town up in the top lane, but it's about that jungler facilitating that lead, giving him the opportunity to get to a point where he can run away with it. And so far, Wisdom has impressed, but not only in the top lane, pretty much across the entire map. This guy has been setting up some deep vision. This guy has been playing around all of his lanes perfectly, and while he does get caught out from time to time, maybe trying a little bit too hard for his entire team, he's been really has been a phenomenal player so far from what we've seen.
But it's also good to see him put more focus around also the mid laner, because there's a lot of times when Selfie as a player gets ignored by his jungler and he's just like, well, if you die, we'll like focus on top lane or bot lane. But when Selfie has been like going hand in hand with Wisdom and actually gets ahead in lane, then he can do a lot. We've seen him land some really good ultimates, actually win a lot of 1v1s even as Lissandra. Now he's playing LeBlanc, so it's a slightly different play style. He's going to be looking for more of these 1v1s and trying to nuke people down. On the opposite side, though, what were you going to say, Vidius?
I was just going to say, we talked a lot about the potential flex of the Karma. It is in the mid lane. It's not a Trundle mid. Sorry to disappoint. It is going to be Karma there. So against the LeBlanc, quite an interesting matchup. Not one that you typically see all the time. Can be quite obnoxious for the LeBlanc because the Karma can just quite consistently shove you into your tower very early on. It's very similar to playing against Morgana in a sense, because the back caster minions can get cleared out by a single mantra Q.
Right.
And so you just feel this constant pressure, and it's very difficult for LeBlanc to actually trade into a minion wave because you can take a lot of damage that you necessarily don't want to take. But you still have a lot of kill threat from a LeBlanc. I mean, yes, okay, you do have a little bit more survivability. The shield, the mobility, the slows from Karma is great. All that utility is fantastic, but it's still LeBlanc. You still have to respect the damage once she hits that level 6 mark. So itemization will be something I keep my eyes on in the middle lane. Really curious to see how the Karma builds. You have a number of different build paths. The Athenes was intentionally changed for more supporty mid laners. So so those mid laners that provide shields and heals and basic utility for the rest of their team. So like the Morgana, the Lulu, the like the Karma. And basically how it works now is you build up stacks based on the damage that you do, and then once you have full stacks, you put a shield on top of one of your allies, and they get bonus effects. It's a really useful thing to have, and I'm curious as to. I don't know how great it is or how much how Sebek values it. Maybe he still wants to be a carry, so he'll go more towards
Deathcap.
Morello Deathcap could be his choice. I do think an Abyssal kind of has to be core against a LeBlanc. It would be a little bit crazy not to go for that.
That's true.
But Athene's also does give you that bit of magic resistance as well.
Yeah,
so.
and he's got his shield as well coming in from his E, so it might not be too bad for him in the mid lane. Going back into the bot lane now, we've got the Trundle actually going into the bot lane. Seen it flexed up, kind of back and forth. We've seen how strong it is top lane from the last game at least. Lucian also for EQ. You can see that one. And what are we looking in terms of keystones? Are we looking at anything different here? I'm not seeing anything.
Deathfire Touch on Karma, I really like it.
Deathfire Touch.
I do like it. It scales quite nicely with the amount of, like, it just works quite nicely with poke solo champions. That extra bit of burn damage is always very valuable. Further down in the bottom lane, but no, as you rightly said, nothing too crazy coming out anywhere.
Now, Trundle, as usual, running Grasp with the Undying, even the support, because he wants to go up and hit people.
Likes to smash.
He likes to smash. Does he say that anymore? Because he's a big beefy troll king now.
I don't really play Trundle. Isn't one of his catchphrases still time to troll?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think on traditional Trundle, he definitely does that.
Right. But traditional Trundle has a sweet splash art.
He does.
Sitting in his
he looks like a badass now. He doesn't look as derpy as he did before. So, I mean, that probably was the way to describe him. Him and Nunu were probably like the derpiest champions in League of Legends. Maybe Zac as well.
Oh, Nunu. I hope he never comes back. Anyway,
yeah, he's only been obnoxious every time he's like top lane. He just snowballs you constantly. Jungle, he just takes all of your stuff all of the time. And LP, they are going to be placing down these lane swap wards. So they'll now be TPing back to base. And a lot of wards all over the place, actually. So a battering of vision for both teams.
All over the shop, they do have some vision. As the Misfits bottom lane, gonna go for that Krug start. Even with the experienced Juniors, hasn't really deterred the bottom lanes from getting that early level 2, as we were discussing in the game before. As both teams, we are going to see standard lane matchups, what seems to be, which I think a lot of people are going to be happy about. I think people do want to see a little bit more action in the 2v2, the 1v1. And I'm certainly excited moving forward to the LCS and the rest of this CS qualifier. As we actually see a 3-man invade. Oh no, the lane swap actually coming out from LP, and they're going to go for a 3-man invade.
Kex coming in with Memento, but the Grump has already been taken, so we'll see if they'll take away the blue buff. They're going to walk into the trap to take that one away from Diddley. And Memento's going to steal away these Merc Wolves as well, so now they're forcing them into the bot side of the map, and we may just get a red buff and then a blue buff take from Wisdom and Alphari.
Yep.
That's very likely.
What we need to do is keep our eyes on the top laner, because remember now how the experience has been changed. Even if you are in the double jungle, you aren't going to get that valuable experience that you love so much, which is exactly why you're going to be seeing these top laners likely move away. They do take one of the small junglers, one of the small monsters from the jungle camp to get a little bit of experience.
The blue buff Sentinels.
Yeah. And that will give them a bit of experience prior to moving down into lane. But they want to get to lane as quickly as possible, because they're not really gaining anything from sitting in the jungle.
Not really. That's why you could see Kex immediately leaving as soon as he knew his jungler was good to go with that buff. So bot lane, Dreams and Alphari are going to start hammering away at this tower with Yuki as well. You probably don't want to die to tower.
Ouchies.
That would be unfortunate. But he's good to go, and now they're onto this tower. So we should be seeing this tower trade. I believe LP got to that tower faster, as they did have the momentum in that play. Yeah, it's already down to half HP. So we'll see if low priority are able to use that tempo and make anything happen and do something as we move into, I guess, phase 2 of the lane swap, what we usually call it.
So what's going to happen now is LP, they're going to put a deep ward in the lane, because they want to see exactly who's coming back. So if both teams decide to go back to standard lane matchups, so you have the bottom lane versus bottom lane and top versus top, then you want the freeze for your top laner so that the wave is pushing towards your top laner. And that means you're going to deny experience from your opponent as well as get experience from yourself. So as you can see from both tops, Alphari's just going to hold it here, set up the freeze, and they do have that deep ward down in the bottom lane, same for the top half of the map, so they can identify who is actually coming down into the lane. And once they see the bottom lane, they're going to know, right, let's shove things up, let's get as much farming experience as we can, because the enemy bottom lane is just going to shove into the tower anyway. So you want to try and make the most out of this situation, and that's basically the purpose of this ward.
Makes a lot of sense. Both top laners both did the same thing, and they're going to see Edgewell come up here right about now.
So this seems to be the standard lane swap that we're seeing right now, where you basically you have your top laner help out a little bit with your jungler, then while your bottom lane starts shoving up towards the turret, you ideally have your top laner then meet them at the turret once the big minion wave hits, and then they can start soaking up that extra bit of experience, while your jungler just continues to do his thing and continue that farm up. So even though it's a slight variation of what we saw in the past, but pretty much still same old, same old.
Same old, same old. Kekt into the bottom lane here. Going to be finding Lucian and Trundle. So they may be looking to converge on this bottom lane. We've got Memento also coming down, so they can take down this turret. Trundle is very good in these situations because of Frozen Zone domain.
Oh, interesting.
Does a lot of damage to towers.
So they've actually kept Alphari down in the bottom lane. I'm not sure if he was expecting that. I think what he expected was Kex to perhaps stick around with his jungler, or perhaps rotate to the top lane himself, maybe do a bit of solo jungling. So Alphari could just go in a 1 versus 2, but now he's in a 1 versus 3. He's losing a lot of farm. He's being denied a lot of experience, while Kex is still soaking that wave up, being with his bottom lane. So yes, the bottom lane of low priority will lose out a little bit, but quick thinking from Misfits by sending their jungler top means that they're not going to lose that much in terms of the tempo.
Yeah, not too bad at all. The bottom tower will fall very shortly. Should be able to Zaitan and Kekt. And there you have it. Just waiting for the tower to kill as many minions as possible. And the same thing will happen top lane as well. And that will be split between Yuki and Dreams. But that means that the strong side belong to LP on the bottom side of the map, so they will be getting the first dragon of the game, which is the Infernal Dragon. Yeah, and this is the risk that you play right now with the changes to lane swap. There's a lot more value having your strong side on the bottom half of the map, because you're able to pick up that first dragon. And given that it's the Infernal Drake, which gives you 8% additional damage, that is definitely a big advantage gain for low priority. I'm just going to have a quick look on my screen to see what Drake is popping up next, and it is a second Infernal Drake. Another one.
That's going to be spawning at about 12 minutes into the game. If low priority can pick that one up, that is a 16% damage increase at what is effectively 12 minutes into the game.
That would be amazing. I wonder if we're going to get a third one of the game. Last time we asked what is Triple Ocean, we had some good responses. It was Tridal Wave.
Tridal Wave a lot. Yeah.
What's going to be Triple Infernal? I don't know.
We've got we've got a Mountain Range.
Yeah.
We've got the Tridal Wave.
Yeah.
You came up with a name for the Cloud one yesterday.
I think that was Stress though, wasn't it? I don't know.
There was definitely a name came up for the Cloud ones.
Maybe.
Personally, I just think it's windy, but there we are.
That's a little lackluster though. It's like, we've got some windy Cloud Dragons.
Well, that's how lackluster the Wind Drake is.
All right, okay, that's fair.
So when you have 3 Cloud Dragons, it's effectively, you're really windy right now. Passing a lot of wind, perhaps.
Yeah.
So now we need to think of 1 for 3 Infernal Drakes as we move. Well, that's a matter of
if we get there.
If we get there,
that's true.
After the second Infernal Drake,
full
we might
Fire
get
Nation.
Yeah, go full Fire Nation. As Misfits, they're looking for a collapse onto Kex.
Best of luck, my friend. He is just a Maokai,
nice.
but he's going to juke over the wall. The flash comes out. Alphari's going to follow him for first blood. Memento is going to try something a little bit tricky. Will be locked down with a concussive blow, but he is good to go. But ultimately, a tree is going to die in the forest, unfortunately.
That was really nice play coming out from Misfits. I thought that Kex was able to get the outplay because he used that twisted advance to avoid the stun from Alphari, but because the basic attack was flying in the air from Yuki, they were able to fully stack the concussive blows, and that resulted in getting the stun and getting the kill over to Alphari. So this is what we were talking about. Alphari, he needs to be set up for success, because in the current meta, it's very hard to set yourself up when you're playing these very heavy tank top laners. So as long as you get a slight advantage, you're going to be a pretty happy champion. You're going to start having so much more impact. And Alphari being 1-0, yes, he's experiencing a bit of a CS deficit, but have a look at what he's decided to pick himself up. He's got himself the Dark Seal, so he's definitely telling you, hey, I'm going to try and carry this game.
We're actually seeing a lot of Echoes do that kind of just like regardless, because it's like, well, I'm never going to die with Chrono Break, so I am generally good to go. Because we didn't really see like Echoes with high deaths, because we've seen a lot of fights where like they'll start and they TP in from bot lane, and it's just like, I'm going to go back to farming. And just like hit the Chrono Break and just go back to bot lane. So, yeah, Dark Seal was a really nice item. You see he's gone for the Corrupting Potion as well on top of that, so going to be buffing up a lot of the regeneration he's getting from that item.
And have a look at
Since Maokai's actually done
he's
that
doing
as well.
Great job with the farm. doing what Nidalee does best, roaming around the map, stealing as many enemy camps as possible. As the gold advantage currently sitting on top of Misfits right now. Drake advantage sitting in favor of low priority, but given the first blood the Misfits were able to pick up, they're going to be pretty happy with that.
So we have a suggestion from Stress, which is a volcano of Infernal Dragons. I like it.
A volcano, but I suppose you could.
But it's like it's just like a noun of stuff, you know. It's not the same as like a range of mountain dragons or like a tidal wave, you know.
What would you call like a collection of fire? Does that have a word?
I don't know. Maybe someone at home can tell us.
Well, we had some great suggestions for the Ocean Drake, but hang on a second. Teleport coming in from Misfits.
Gonna try and close in. Selfie's coming in from the north side. HQ is gonna be making his way out. Kekt may also be going down here, I think.
No flash.
Yeah, he is a pretty dead tree. Both of the kills on this game have gone on towards him.
So, double teleport coming out from Misfits. They really wanted to kill Kekt right there. Didn't even slightly want to give him an advantage or any opportunity even to get out of that situation. Misfits, knowing that their support Dreams is a very talented player, said, yo, you cover mid. We'll leave that to you. You get a bit of farming experience because we know you need it. And the rest of us will go set up a play down in the bottom lane. So Dreams able to hold off any kind of return siege coming out from low priority as they pick themselves up their second kill of the game.
It was like, oh, you have a CS lead, do you? Well, we're just going to murder you over and over again until Alpari catches up and overtakes you. 1 kill on 1 assist.
You like the word murder, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's very much what happened there. Kekt's got very much murdered. They killed him until he died.
Yes, precisely.
Precisely. Sebex is now clearing out the back wave of minions fairly easily. Mid lane, Zaitan's coming in. Trophy comes up. Oh, big spear out from Wisdom before the exhaust comes up. He's going to be pouncing after, but Sebex, he's bleeding out, but he has the shield to keep him alive. Wisdom is going to be throwing javelins on his way back to safety. Selfie also took a bit of the culling, and Sebex was on single digits of HP. But he is alive.
So a couple things happened there. Misfits, Wisdom held on to his pounce until the exhaust was over because he wanted to do as much damage as possible. It did force the heal out of HQ, and to be fair, a lot of summoner spells out of the low priority lineup in general. But nobody ended up going down off the back of that Selfie. He had to use... Oh, no, he didn't end up using his flash. Wisdom used his flash. But overall, it was still a pretty good play.
I went back and watched how much HP Sebex had after that play. He actually had 1.
Oh, my word.
Actually had 1 HP.
Shields OP.
Okay,
Jeez.
you can call that play unlucky. That's okay. Kekt, he's going to get some revenge onto Wisdom, who's going to be looking to pounce over the wall, over to Dreams. Ooh. Memento's there with a smoke screen. Not quite enough damage. Flash after. Oh, Graves! The ultimate problem that he's not able to auto-attack anyone if there's someone in the way. The Q also hits the wall. Dreams may die. But again, still, Memento, he's just a little too short range. The shotgun was not the tool that he wanted in that scenario.
So talk about unlucky, right? Oh man, Sebex being able to get away with 1 HP, and then Misfits just do exactly the same with 2 of their own members. They tried to set up for a siege up in the top lane. Low priority tried to get something back, but unfortunately they weren't quite able to solidify any of those kills. Very unfortunate for them, so they're going to have to maintain this gold deficit that they're sitting in.
Man, so many close calls in this game. This should have been another 3 on the board. Yes. I'll be honest. There's a second Infernal Dragon. It is alive. And the first one went over to LP, so we're not even going to find 3 Infernal Dragons to 1 team this game, so that's going to be sad. Unless there's some miracle that's not going to happen. Well,
nope.
We didn't even get 3 oceans, but in the...
Mountain.
Yeah.
We got a mountain next.
A mountain.
So that would be when you have the mountain and the infernal.
That
then
would
you've
be
got a volcano.
There you go. Okay, so we've got that one. You can thank Stress for that. Dreams he's dead. I mean, there's not much more to say about that one.
Well, he can enjoy his sweet dreams right now. It looks like... right, so Misfits, they try to contest the blue buff. They did have the timer on it. But then the flank teleport coming out from Kex, there was a deep wall down in the river, so they used that to set up the collapse down onto Dreams. And LP finally get themselves a kill on the board as they siege for this mid-tier 1 turret.
A bit of damage out there from Selfie. And Memento, he's going to be invading the jungle right now. I say invading, that's his own jungle. He's going to be going into his own jungle, carrying out the minions. Sebex is looking for Selfie. Siege still continuing from LP. They a little bit lost to as to what they need to do right now. But Got another suggestion from Stress. That's going to be a wildfire of Infernal Dragons.
I like that a lot. Like it a lot.
Oh, Wisdom doesn't like this scenario a lot at all. He's going to be pacing back and forth. He's got to jump over the wall. But actually, got to be careful. Got to be careful of the Rep Herald who was just about to smack Wisdom down. But
wow,
he's good.
So Wisdom leaps over the wall. He's like, wait, nope. Leaps back over the wall. Fortunately, the binding from Sebex kept him in place. But if it weren't for Dreams, then Wisdom likely would have been put to sleep right there. Fortunately, he was able to get away, pick up the blue buff as well for his teammate. And now things have gone back to farm mode. So you brought up an interesting point. Low priority, struggling to know what to do. Let's have a look at what low priority need to do, because they are running this Karma in the mid. They do have a fair amount of poke available to them. Lucian being a fairly short-range AD carry means that he's not fantastic at taking down these turrets because he has to get quite close to them. But with the build that he's going for, with the Ghost Blade and the Black Cleaver, he's going to have a lot more AD early on. So having that large amount of AD will contribute slightly to actually taking down these turrets. So what they really need to do is they need to group up, they need to get a bit of poke down, but they have this fantastic teamfight composition because you have the Trundle with his Subjugate, you have the Maokai with the damage reduction and the solid front line, and you basically need to be playing around these neutral objectives. And when you get yourself a numbers advantage, then you need to be looking to set up a siege, but right now if it's just this back and forth, the LeBlanc presence is enough to keep low priority away.
Ezreal just throwing the ultimate. It's like, guys, if you couldn't wave clear, and I got you. I actually don't think I hit anything on the way past. But yeah, Sebex didn't even go for the Athenes you were hinting at in Champions League. Maybe he was going to pick up the item, went for the Abyssal Scepter first. Selfie, he's going to be clearing out these minion waves. Gone for the Morellonomicon, and probably going to go towards the Abyssal Scepter, yeah. So not going to be going for the Death Cap early on into the game, at least. What do we got from the Lucian? So going back to the build that we've been seeing a little bit more of, which is the Ghost Blade with the core on top of that. So maybe we'll see a Black Cleaver as his next item. On the opposite side, Yuki, he's got the classic blue build starting items of the Tear and the Sheen. I don't think we're seeing anything out of the ordinary from the rest of the players in this game just yet.
No, it does not look that way. Just having a look at some of the other itemization choices coming out as Wisdom found Memento.
And Memento gonna pop the ultimate. It's a good sidestep on the spear. That would have secured his death for certain. Selfie face planted the wall, but we'll laugh it off. And Wisdom and Alfari will take away the Scuttle Crab. And we've had this long lull in the action right now, where both teams are trying to make plays, trying to make a pick, but hasn't really panned out. And when you don't know what to do, go gank Kex.
Go gank Kex.
Misfits are
when
trying to seize.
Go gank Kex. Do-do-do.
That is the theme song of Misfits.
It's like an advert. That's what appeared in my head. Yeah. Struggling to know what to do, looking for a way to move forward in your League of Legends game? Well, look no further, because we have the answer for you. Go and gank Kex. Always overextending, always without vision. It's an easy way to get yourself an easy kill.
He's okay. Well, I can't even defend him at this point because he is actually pushing up once again. But yeah, we have the 1 minute until the Mountain Dragon. So whoever picks it up will have the Volcano of Dragons because they both have an Infernal each.
Think of all the combos we could make.
I know. We've basically just created alchemy right now. So that's really good. But there's no equivalent exchange in this one.
Nice, I like that.
Basically, because that's all I've been watching every single day. But he's going to be farming up this mid lane here. Yuki and Dreams still pushing up. It's just a lot of different members in different lanes trying to make something happen. But ultimately, it's a whole lot of farming. It's farming all the way down.
We're approaching the 20-minute mark, right? So let's remember this from LP. They're going to hit a big spike once Lucian completes 2 items. Karma, you could argue, has a bit of a power spike, but really she's more of the scaling type of mid laner. She's more about that utility, and she can kind of be relevant throughout the game because she is quite obnoxious with the poke and with the shields that she provides. The top lane is, do they hit power spikes? Is that really what you'd call it?
Can you call this a fight? Not really.
So it's very much going to be about the AD carries on both teams, and the LeBlanc, of course, once she completes that Abyssal. I mean, she's already a powerhouse. You have to be very mindful of Selfie's positioning, especially given that he has decided to go for the TP, likely going to transition into that split push presence once he's completed that Abyssal himself, or he might even just decide to do it now. But low priority, once they get those 2 items, they need to force something on the Lucian, because that is really where they're going to hit a big spike that they need to take advantage of, because if you go check out the article that has been posted on around Reddit by Chakras, you can see that the Lucian does start to fall off later on as the game progresses, and this edge roll is just going to start to outscale them, so low priority need to take advantage of their power plays.
Well, Zaitan and the rest of low priority are going towards this dragon, and it would be nice to pick up, as this is a mountain dragon, so knocking down some of those turrets will be a little bit easier. Also, when they prioritize dragons in the future, and also Baron, then will also help them out. And because not many towers have gone down this game, then that would be what they would like to happen. Alfari almost getting caught out by Sebex, but almost has kind of been the name of the game so far. Memento takes a bit of damage out from Selfie, just trying to chunk him out before this dragon really starts getting contested. And up by Rift Herald.
Oh wow,
no one
that's
cares about you.
something I've noticed, that Misfits really don't put a lot of value on that Rift
Which is
Herald
surprising, because they have Alfari.
They have Alfari, yeah. They tend to play around it when their opponents play around it, and then they'll look to contest it and pick it up if they can. But their main focus is not picking that objective up. They've put in a lot more focus down on this early dragon. They gave away the first one because of the lane swap. But since then, they have just maintained strong control. And interestingly, low priority, even though they have arguably the superior teamfight composition, they're not looking to try and force anything just yet.
Well, Kekt, he's back in his natural habitat of the bot lane. He's currently sat on his Senpai cape. He's got the Spectre's cowl. He's feeling pretty happy in life, I would have to say. He did die those 2 times.
Happy little tree, you would say?
He is maybe a happy little tree, but we also had many happy little accidents in this game.
He certainly has.
2 to be precise. Memento and Hiku are pushing up this tower. Zaitan is backing up, but here's the TP from both of those top laners. Little Fisher doesn't land onto either player. Selfie immediately exhausted out by Zaitan. Now Kex is into this fight, has been exhausted himself, but he's pretty good to go. Wisdom is now into the back lines and actually hasn't taken that much damage, but chooses to flash away anyway. And neither of the teams lose any members. There are no casualties in this fight, despite a lot of people in LP flashing up red.
So the target focus was a little bit all over the shot from Misfits. There's a lot of blinking health bars on low priority right now, as they eat a lot of poke.
Oh, Memento, one more spell would have done it from Selfie, but he'll collateral damage back to safety. And Wisdom will try and put down a deep ward real quick. And Misfits still have the tempo in this play.
They certainly do. They realize that no Ocean Dragon has been picked up, so you're not going to have that sustain available to you. Misfits still feeling very strong. The small heals coming out from Nidalee helping pretty significantly, but the wave clear absolutely massive from low priority right now as Sebex eats a spear.
Zaitan eating a Time Winder. Kekt as well will be eating a bit of damage, but Selfie, meanwhile, has backed off from his team and is taking up his blue buff. I believe the next dragon is a Mountain Dragon again. Wow. So we could have double volcanoes in this game.
Or a really big volcano on the side of Misfits.
With a little bit of magma,
Yeah, with a bit of magma, as you rightly said. So low priority, returning their aggression. Sebex is forced to go back, but Misfits actually going to be the ones likely to lose out on a turret in this situation. They have absolutely no answer to it. So impressive stuff from low priority to stick it out. Wait for Misfits to basically get tired of the siege, go back to farming, and then they immediately pounce, get themselves back a turret in return, and now they sit on the turret lead. So let's look back at what exactly happened in that engagement. You saw the double teleport coming out from Misfits to try and set up that play. But unfortunately, as we were discussing earlier, there was no real target for Misfits to focus onto. The exhaust immediately came down onto Selfie, prevented him from really being able to shut anyone down. And then once Maokai had joined the fight and started to lock down Selfie, Misfits' priority became more about keeping Selfie alive than it actually did killing the members of LP. You saw Wisdom on the backline by himself doing what he could, but it just wasn't enough against 3 members. So Misfits, they had a nice initiation setup, but the target focus just wasn't quite there. And really nice response from low priority.
Kekt has been caught out by Selfie, but Selfie has run out of damage, so he's going to be backing away. But still, the fact that he can chunk down the tank to 50% is pretty good. Wisdom's going to clear out this ward. He's going to stop him from recalling. Sebex, he's going to take his blue buff. And all in all, we've just had a lot of farming, a lot of players trying to contest stuff and not really panning out. And Yuki will even use his ultimate to clear a wave. So I think that is just a sign of how this game has gone so far. Dragon, we may see some contest over that one, as that will be spawning, but that will be in about 3 minutes from now, so there's a little bit until that happens. We did get a very early first dragon, so we may even get 5 before the Elder Dragon one spawns.
Don't tease me now, Pulse.
Maybe. I mean, well, okay, if they take this one in 2 minutes' time, it'll be 26 minutes and be 32 minutes. So yeah, we could very much have... There's a 3-minute window where the dragons could be taken. And it was a really cool stat last split where it was, I believe there was only a downtime of 45 seconds total in a game where dragon would not be dead.
Oh, wow.
So dragon was dead for basically 99% of the game. So teams generally will take that one pretty much as it spawns, unless there's a cloud dragon, in which case they will just leave it alive. Wisdom is dead. Yeah, Wisdom just got caught in the enemy jungle, and that's what happens if you get caught in the enemy jungle.
Kex wanted a bit of revenge there, flashing over the wall, knowing exactly where Wisdom was and preventing him any opportunity to make any sort of counterplay. So really impressive stuff from LP, finally getting the pick that they need, and now they could be the ones to set up around the dragon. It's going to be spawning in a minute's time. Decided not to push their vision any further. Instead, they want to put a little bit more priority around the Baron. They know how strong Misfits could be if they are able to pick that one up, and they don't want to allow Misfits any kind of chance to pick up that big neutral objective. And thinking about it, I think all the casters thought that this would be the closest game of the day. Both teams fighting for that top spot.
True. And I know you said that a lot and said, I'm sure you have the same opinion. And then I'm not saying this.
It's definitely... It's a tough... we're seeing it right now, aren't we? I mean, both teams struggling to know what to do. They're a little bit afraid to press the go button because both teams are very talented in what they do. And right now, it's a very slow early game. Something that I think we should expect when you have two top teams fighting it out.
I mean, as we said at the start of the game, like, whoever wins this game is basically guaranteed to get into the finals out of this group, and the loser will have to at least pick up a win against someone else. But considering how dominant both Low Priority and Misfits have been, Misfits maybe even more so, I think it's pretty likely we'll see these two teams in the finals, barring anything absolutely crazy. I still have another 2 days of groups and the rest of today. We aren't even halfway through the groups, currently in CSQ, but very strong start in Group A from these two teams. Alpharian, Dreams, and Wisdom just doing all this vision control. I'd love to know how many wards have died this game. I feel like there's more ward deaths than anything else.
Double sweepers coming out from both sides, and with the blue trinkets as well. Those would contribute to the ward stat.
This will be the very big volcano being created by Misfits. All right, what's the next one going to be? It's an ocean. Okay.
Ocean, wow.
So it's going to be
basically making an island.
Yeah, island volcano. Good stuff.
Making an island volcano, that's nice. Well, given the positional...
I like this game, I like it a lot.
Given the positional advantage that Low Priority have, after Misfits decided to go to that Mountain Drake, they're going to pick themselves up a tier 2 turret in the top lane. So pretty even trade, you could argue, given that... also slightly ironic that the dragon that helps you take turrets is actually the team that loses a turret. But now the blue buff being contested.
Well, we've seen this trade-off before. We've seen, like Chef 6, for example, they run these very hard early game, mid-game compositions and will trade towers for dragons. But then it kind of bites them in the late game where they can't close. And LP needs to be careful of that, the fact that Misfits have these triple dragons and then could have an Elder Dragon later as well. So as long as Low Priority are prepared to try and make plays around the mid-game and try and close it out like they are right now. Kex coming in from the side. He's going to be chasing after Alphari. This is getting very messy, but Kex just refuses to die. He's done too much of that this game for his liking. Zaitan going to have the chains on top of him. He gets snared down. Alphari looking to return some damage. And after all of that, Low Priority have shoved away Misfits from the mid-tower. Mid-tower does not have a lot of health left, I'll be honest. But they kept it alive.
So it's actually...
It's not alive anymore.
Psych! It's actually really difficult for both teams to lock anybody down. For Misfits, it was hard because their goal there was to actually take the turret. So they weren't invested completely into going for the fight. As a result, they spent more time retreating and trying to get that objective rather than trying to turn things around on Low Priority. Whereas Low Priority, they don't really have an easy target to lock down. You have an Echo, super slippery. There's a Nidalee, who's super slippery. There's a there's a LeBlanc who's also super slippery, and then there's an Ezreal on top of that. So you have a lot of high mobile carries that are just then further supported by this Braum. If there's someone that uses their dash and then is in trouble, you put the Braum on top of them and he denies any kind of follow-up. So it is really difficult for LP to get any kind of lockdown, but because of the front line of LP, Misfits are also struggling to get themselves a kill. It's always Kex that they have to focus, and they just don't have the damage just yet to actually shred through his defensive stats.
Because before, at least, he's just a squishy Maokai, but now he's got double defensive items and also the makings of a Frozen Heart. So yeah, he's not going to die very quickly.
He's turned from a little sapling into a mighty oak.
Mighty oak, indeed. On the opposite side, Alphari, he's completing his core items. He's got the Iceborne Gauntlet, he's got the Sunfire Cape, got the Rod of Ages out of the jungle there from Wisdom, looking probably for a Rylai's on top of that. Just lots of AP. Anything out of the ordinary that I'm seeing here? Pretty much everything as usual, I think.
Execution is calling, done for Memento.
True.
Item I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, that is a little bit different.
I think that builds into Mortal Reminder.
That is correct. But why?
But why? So the Mortal Reminder, perhaps to reduce some of the self-healing or healing that is provided by the Nidalee. Get those Grievous Wounds. You have to remember on patch 6.9, Grievous Wounds changes were reverted, so now it's all healing done is cut in half.
Indeed.
Echo's ultimate also gives you a fair amount of health. Lifesteal on top of Yuki too, so there are a couple advantages to picking that one up. Question is, why is Graves putting so much priority onto it?
Who knows? Because he could go Phantom Dancer.
He could also go Black Cleaver.
He could. There are many things that Graves could do, but he is going for Execution Calling into Pickaxe. So we'll see what he does with that one. And low priority are just chilling in the jungle. They're clearing out of all the camps. You can see the state of this game as there is only one camp left alive, and that is the Krugs on the blue side.
TLDR, just look at the minimap, sums up the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty true of every game.
That is true. That is...
quick pro tips
as well. Just look at the
about to be dead because Echo's got him. True Shot Barrage coming across. Got those minions. And Hiku will get away with the red buff, taking that away from Yuki. Not going to get it today.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the items. Let's have a look at the gold disparities. There is a slight advantage going in the favor of Selfie, as he's currently sitting at level 15 to the level 15 of Sebex. Yuki has the level advantage over his counterpart. He did have a decent gold advantage earlier on, but that gap has small now. But hang on, enough of the gold, because the Baron is being kicked off by Misfits.
This is something that could spark an engagement, or everyone could run away.
I think they just forced the teleport out of Kex. Now he doesn't have that available. Alphari can go into full split push mode because he can draw a lot of pressure, and if Kex shows his face bottom, then Misfits can immediately start the Baron up. You have Alphari to teleport in, and then they have the numbers advantage to make a play for that objective. So I think LP were a little bit trigger happy on the teleport. Don't think they needed to do it as quickly. And so now Misfits have more control over that Baron if they choose to make that play.
Well, Memento, he was able to take away that ward and his red buff. Selfie, he's still farming away, doing very well in terms of farm for a LeBlanc. Almost at 300 at 32 minutes into this game. Has that Dark Seal, had it for a while now, and currently has 0 stacks. Yes, so has not been panning out incredibly well.
No. Gives you glory now.
It does. He has 0 glory.
Yeah.
There's been no glory in this game. There's been a lot of red buffs being taken, a lot of blue buffs being taken, and a lot of farming.
Probably why Alphari dropped it. He knew very quickly.
Oh yeah, you had to
nobody is going to die this game.
Actually, just not efficient anymore because no one's dying.
He's
That's
just like,
fantastic.
He's like, nope. I know exactly what top lane is like. I'm not going to get any assists or any kills. I'm just going to leave it there.
So yeah, Mortal Reminder completed out by Memento.
Misfits, they know there's a ward in there.
They do, but they're trying to draw people from LP towards the Baron area so that they can, I don't know, high-five them?
High-five them. Yo, up top!
Up top, come up top. Okay, here is the Ocean Dragon. LP are going to start this off. It's bizarre. Misfits were like, they went for the Baron play, but they've just kind of let the Ocean Dragon slip through their fingers. Can they make anything happen from this? A fight would be good. But
Alphari flashed
and missed it. Is going to go into Kex and going to receive some damage in return. and Misfits are going to back away. So LP, that was a weird play from Misfits.
Now, Alfari knew that another action play wouldn't happen for another 5 minutes.
Right.
So he intentionally burnt his flash, knowing that he had time.
That's next level. I just don't agree with the fact that they started Baron. They knew it was warded. LP could have stopped them because they were hovering around the mid lane, and then they just got a free dragon. Now Misfits pulled the trigger, but they didn't exactly get the timing on them. But that was good chunk damage coming in from Selfie. TP out from Sebex, but there's both teleports now being used. And again, Misfits, they realize that the game is a slow game. So what do? You take away the key summoners through like progressive plays. So now they've gotten both Kek's TP, they've gotten Sebex's TP, so now they have this window where Misfits can do something, and they'll have Alfari split push in the bottom lane.
And Misfits still haven't seen that ward in the back of the pit, so LP know this exactly what's going on, but the flank TP from Alfari.
Here's the TP, Alfari is going to try and make something happen, Memento's going to get caught on the pit, so is Kekt. Sebex is here with the damage, Dreams is dropping low, Wisdom jumps into the fray, Alfari is going to get blasted here, Memento is going to follow after the first kill onto Alfari, and after all of that, Misfits' play has not gone well.
Misfits do set up the flank TP, but again, they have to put all of their focus down onto the front line that is Kex. Wisdom, he wants to try and get the steal.
Here comes the other TP, this time being used by Selfie. Blue ward over the wall, will spot him with Dreams coming in. He's going to distract them for a split second. Selfie's going to come in, double distortion. Everyone is very low. Yuki, can he make this happen? Wisdom also poking away. That's going to be the smite secure from Memento, but how many members are they going to lose? Yuki is trying to chase after, but he is out of mana. Selfie comes in, looking for the double distortion, but Kekt is on top of him. Memento gets chunked down. That's a 1-for-1 as Wisdom jumps and pounces to his own demise, and there is no one else to do anything else. So LP pick up the Baron and 3 kills.
So low priority finally get a play that works out for them, demonstrating why their team fight composition is so fantastic. They have a phenomenal front line in the form of Zaitan and Kex. You have that supportive mid laner in the form of Karma, who can still dish a fair amount of AoE damage, and then Hiku is the main damage dealer in these engagements. It's 35 minutes in. His damage is still relevant, that it can change the team fights in low priority's favor, and basically Misfits just struggled to equalize that damage out. They could not shred through the tank. So have a look at this. Low priority, they have 3 members moving towards the Baron. Misfits feel that they're strong here because Alfari is on the front line, but just have a look at the positioning of Sebex and Hiku. Kex is just soaking up all the damage while Hiku and Sebex are just freely able to get as much damage down as they want. Zaitan, Memento, Kex, they just don't take any damage at all, and this is the power of Maokai. This is why he has become way more popular than the Echo, who really is struggling to make a name for himself in the current meta. You have a bit of a dance back and forth here. Selfie, I feel like if he'd saved his distortion, mimic distortion, to try and steal the Baron, that would have been enough. Instead, he uses it to get the damage down. But unfortunately, it just isn't enough. And without the smite close by, there's no way that you're going to be able to outsteal that from low priority. So,
yeah.
Big advantage now gained for low priority. The question is, what are they going to do with it?
He was hoping maybe Yuki could finish him off, but he was just out of mana. Wisdom as well. With solo health, as soon as he jumped in, he just insta-popped. I'm just kind of confused from Misfits' play in general, because it was like, okay, I understand you want to get the TPs, but they tried too hard, forgot the dragon was on the board, gave a free dragon over to LP, where in reality, if they just put pressure over that dragon, then if they get a Elder Dragon on top of that, they're buffing 4 dragons up, which is huge, and could have been a way into this, into closing this game. But because they were tunneling so hard and trying to get those TPs, LP just ended up getting the Baron, and a lot of momentum in this game. Sebex will take the full combo from Selfie, but actually chunk Selfie even more when he jumped in. So this is just really not going well for Misfits now.
Certainly is not. And I'll tell you what, this Karma pick is really impressing me. 2-0 and 2 right now. Death cap completed, putting a lot of poke down onto this turret, and Misfits really have no answer for it.
Well, Kex is going to be leading the charge. The chair comes out, coming in from Dreams, but Dreams is... Well, Kex is just so tanky, as I say that. He gets chunked down to 50% HP. And LP will back off for now. They still have Baron, so they still have a little bit of time to make a play, but they just want to go back to base.
They certainly do. They're just going to disengage. They still have a fair amount of time left on that Baron, so they could use it to potentially make a play for the Elder Dragon, set up some vision around that area. Always a valuable thing to have. But as we've been discussing, you really do need to make use of that dragon as soon as possible. It's only a 2-minute duration. You need to try and make the most of it while you can. As the real question is now, what do Misfits do in this situation? Because they are only a little bit behind in terms of the gold. Their composition is not really built for team fighting. They're very much about skirmishing, finding these duels, the 2v2, the 3v3s, maybe getting a pick off. And right now, low priority aren't giving them an opportunity to that. They're constantly grouping it. They're using this Karma to get as much poke down as possible. And Misfits just really can't match that poke.
Oh, Wisdom getting caught out again in this game. And he'll just go down. Low priority, very happy to pick up that kill. Mid tower is dead. And they'll be looking for a little bit more. Still have that Baron buff. Remember, it was buffed up to 3 minutes 30 now, so an extra 30 seconds of punch.
So I just watched back. Wisdom actually accidentally leaped forward instead of backwards.
That's unfortunate.
He leaped forward into Kex's range. It resulted in him getting caught out. So slight misplay coming out from Wisdom. It's going to cost them pretty dearly if low priority want to use this Baron. As I say that, it's just ran out, so maybe they aren't going to be able to pick this one up.
Maybe not, but Kex is very strong in this game, and he was getting wrecked at the start of the game, but now he's doing pretty well. He's going to be tanking up this tower with the rest of his team. Minion wave now coming in, and with the trophy coming out, I think LP are going to pick up this tower and just back off. With Dragon spawning in 15 seconds, I believe they will just be going over there and taking this one away. They have an Ocean Dragon and an Infernal Dragon, so this will be pretty good to buff. What is an Ocean Dragon and an Infernal Dragon? What does that combine into?
Steam.
Steam. They have Steam, and they're going to buff up their Steam. Might be hard to do this so, because the Volcano is encroaching from Misfits, and they want to push them away. But actually, all of LP just kind of recall. And actually, Misfits don't even want the Dragon either, so they just go mid lane.
Yep, they're just going to disengage from that one. They don't need to put that much value on it right now. No real emphasis on trying to force it.
But they want the Volcano to erupt.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
You definitely do. But LP, they don't have a Volcano because they didn't get a Mountain Drake.
No.
So they're literally they're just hot air right now.
Yeah.
And they just want, I guess maybe they're a sauna. Relaxing in that warm water.
They've been doing a lot of relaxing this game, that's for certain. 4,000 gold ahead in this one, but you have those extra 3 turrets. Just clearing out the Vision once again. The Vision War has been a mainstay of this game for sure. 40 minutes in now, 9 kills have happened. And Dragon is still alive. And at some point, one of them will take it. There is just under 2 minutes on that Baron, so that will probably force a fight, you would have to hope.
You would have to hope. Well, how do Misfits force a fight? I guess like this.
They can just go in right here. Kex is going to jump right onto Dreams. Memento's going to have to do backwards. Uses the collateral damage to get to safety. And they will just disengage.
So, Alphari being the aggressor right there, using his W to try and set up a potential pick, which could have turned into a... Ooh, Wisdom. He's now the one getting caught out once again.
Yeah, Wisdom has just not been having a good game. That's the 3rd time he's just been caught out in the enemy jungle, in his own jungle. Just seems slightly off his game, honestly. Just
why would you try to steal away the blue buff 40 minutes into the game?
I think he's getting impatient.
It does seem that way, but his impatience is going to cost them an Elder Dragon. And this is a perfect situation for low priority to be in as well, because they're all full health. They have a minion wave up in the top pushing in their favor. They could have just rotated around and used that Elder Dragon immediately. They've decided to back off. They want to spend a bit of their gold. And I think it's actually worth it, because Hiku picking up the PF saw pretty big extra amount of AD, going to help him a lot in these next few team fights. Baron going to be spawning in 30 seconds. LP could also use this Elder Drake to help them take that objective.
Well, they got 2 minutes to do so. 20 seconds left on the Baron. And Sapling is going to hit Selfie in the face. And Hiku's going to take his own red buff. So after all of that, LP are also in a pretty good position to probably close out this game. Misfits just had such a hold over this game for like such a long time. They had the Dragons going over to them. Then they just made that weird play in mid-game. And it didn't help that Wisdom just kind of walked in and died multiple times to LP. But now, with this Elder Dragon, with all the Dragons they've accrued, and the Baron being up, low priority are in a pretty dominating position. They just need to activate
Activate.
Activate.
Their trap card, perhaps?
Perhaps.
Well, as they set up a
difficult
lot of
to trap card the Baron anymore because there's, blue trinkets exist.
That's very true. Well, they don't care. They don't need a trap card. They're just going to kick this one off straight away, and they're taking it damn quickly.
Yeah, it's down to 50% already. See if they can pick up the Zaitan before this fight even starts. Kek's already onto Selfie. The only person he can hit right now is a big tanky tree. Yuki is he's very dead. Dreams is getting chased down. Alfari as well. And Misfits, they're just not strong enough to deal with the damage out from low priority. Selfie's going to bleed down. Wisdom and Alfari are the only two remaining. And ironically, Wisdom this time, he didn't jump into the fight and is the only one to try and defend, really. Alfari, he's going to try and do the best that he can, but it's 2 versus 5, and low priority should win this game.
They are certainly on their way to do that. Their Elder Dragon is about to run out, but with the numbers advantage that they have and the lack of wave clear available from Misfits, I don't think that they're going to be able to do anything to stop this game-ending siege coming out from low priority.
43 minutes into the game, you can definitely say this one's been a slugfest. Alfari is going to get deleted out of this fight. He's going to have to back away, still has the Chrono Break, jumps back in, but low priority are so tanky at this stage, they're just going to take the damn Nexus. Everyone's going to start fighting them, but all Memento needs to do is one more auto attack. There it is. LP finish off the game.
LP managing to take the game over Misfits and secure themselves first place in the group as of now with a score of 3-0. Wow.
Yep.
Really impressive stuff from them. Long game, 42 minutes, 43 minutes.
Felt longer.
It definitely it came down to a couple things. Wisdom getting caught out of position, LP playing their composition the way it's supposed to, with Kex and Trundle on the front line being this insane team fight composition that basically Misfits had no answer for. They tried to go for power picks. They weren't able to snowball off the back of it, and even with Alfari being 1-0-1, having everything that he needs to carry, he really wasn't able to do anything.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem was really just the mid-game decisions they made, because it was like they put so much focus on trying to take away those TPs instead of just playing it out. It was like they were playing a game of chess, they just flipped the table up, and it was like, well, you just get disqualified. That's not how you win the game. And then eventually LP just played as normal and managed to close it out, because had they managed to get all 4 of those dragons and just let one over to LP, then they could have just buffed up with Elder Dragon and probably just closed. But yeah, they just kind of let that one go away, and they allowed the steam to go over to LP.
Yeah, they certainly did. So today you found out that
Steam greater than Volcano.
Yeah,
that's what we've discovered.
Fact.
Great.
So the thing is, as well, for Misfits, Wisdom was a
liability.
A liability. That's the polite way of saying it. Yeah. He pressed his pounce the wrong way, got caught by Maokai.
Yep.
He pounced into a blue buff, got caught.
He did do that.
In a team fight, he tried to go for the 1 versus 3, and while it was ambitious, he just dived in, immediately flashed out again. Questionable decision-making coming out from him. So I don't know, the Nidalee didn't impress me. He didn't really do anything standoutish on the Nidalee.
Because we were praising him so hard last game as well, because he seemed to be doing really well with the team. Misfits basically dumpstered their opponents, but this time, we saw kind of problems
as well. They could have put a little bit more value on it. They were on the blue side. But no, they decided not to go for it.
Surprising, because I actually thought going into this game, Misfits were probably the stronger team, just a little bit. Like, low priority, yes, the way that they won wasn't as convincing as the way Misfits won in their games. But you can see that there's impatience coming out from Misfits. Like, if the game goes long, they'll just try and make things happen and then slip it while doing so. So we'll have to see how they do for the rest of the tournament. I'm sure they'll probably pick up a win here or there, and it's very likely we'll see a rematch of that game. But that is game 2 of the day in the book.